You're watching KCRA3, where the news comes first. The KCRA3 Night Team at 10 starts right now.
Inflammatory anti-gay comments made by a member of the San Francisco 49ers. Cornerback Chris Culliver stating that gays are not welcome in the team locker room.
Tonight, the team, Culliver, and the fans are reacting to those controversial comments.
The country is going in a more acceptable, more loving direction, and I think shame on him.
This issue's become a distraction for the 49ers. The team quickly responded, then Culliver apologized, and now he plans to speak tomorrow at a news conference.
Yeah, we have this story in our full focus tonight. Mallory Hoff is getting some reaction from people in San Francisco, but we're starting with Kelly DeMarco. She's live tonight for us in New Orleans. Kelly.
Galston, good evening. It is the big story today. Fans talking about this around the country. Chris Culliver and those controversial comments he made about gays in the locker room. He is expected to talk for the first time tomorrow after making those comments, and the media has a lot of questions, and so do the fans. So here's basically what happened. Culliver, number 29, if you don't know, for the 49ers, the defensive back. He's seen here getting an interception during last week's NFC Championship game. Well, he was on the Artie Lang show yesterday and was asked about gay men and possibilities of gay players. Here's the quote we'll summarize. Basically, he says there aren't gay players on his team, and if there were, they'd have to leave. When asked if a gay player could be good in the NFL, he basically said no, and once again said they shouldn't be in the locker room. Tonight in New Orleans, we got reaction to those comments.
I would respect a person of diversity. I would respect Chris Culliver's beliefs. I may think he's wrong, but I respect his beliefs.
That's really bad. Should be pretty much open for everybody, regardless of their sexual preferences.
But as a mom, if I had a gay son that wanted to play football, hallelujah, but what does gay have to do with football? You know, athleticism is athleticism, and I don't think that's influenced by your preference either way.
Culliver issued an apology today saying the derogatory comments I made yesterday were a reflection of thoughts in my head, but they are not how I feel. Of course, the question tonight is this something that's going to get in the way of the 49ers as they concentrate on playing the big game for Super Bowl Sunday? Our Mallory Hoff is live in San Francisco tonight with reaction from fans there. Mallory?
Well, we spoke with fans as they were getting out of work tonight. Some of them had already heard about these comments, others just hearing about them for the first time. They shared their feelings with us. Chris Culliver may be a San Francisco 49er, but many football fans in the city by the bay aren't cheering him on right now.
We're supposed to be better than that here in San Francisco.
It's kind of closed-minded. It's not that awesome. It's pretty backward.
I don't think it represents San Francisco very well.
The cornerback's anti-gay comments in a radio interview left Niners fans in San Francisco offended, even brought to tears.
Don't we live in a free world?
Culliver's comments prompted this response from one man, an invitation of sorts.
I invited him to come to the Castro so he can understand what it's about.
This man broke into song with a message for Culliver.
We ain't gonna be ashamed of the 49ers, cause it's okay, don't be rude, boy.
And as for that apology issued in a statement, some 49ers fans are having trouble believing it came from the heart.
Do you buy this apology? They're a reflection of thoughts in my head, but they are not how I feel.
That was written by his PR person. I mean, he's not intelligent enough to come up with that.
And as you just saw, there are a lot of fans feeling very frustrated, very disappointed this evening. Many of them saying they just hope this team can get refocused and bring home a win. Kelly, back to you.
Mallory, thanks very much. Of course, that's not the only story we have covered tonight. Del, you have a couple stories coming up.
Yeah, coming up in sports, there's a team here that has a training facility advantage. I'll tell you which team that is and why they have an advantage.
And Chris?
And we spent the day with Jack and Jackie Harbaugh. For the first time in NFL history, there was a press conference for the parents of the head coaches.
We'll have all that and more coming up. Guys, back to you.
Yeah, the Harbaughs were something. Can't wait to see that, guys. Thanks so much for that. We'll see you in a few. First, though, new tonight, passionate pleas and burst of frustration at times coming from parents as they try to stop their school from being closed.
KCRA3's Richard Sharp explains why the district says they have to close their school and what parents are doing about it.
And he got one right here.
Fed up and just about to give up, but not before Raymond Thompson gave the school district a piece of his mind.
Now to go way over here. Come on.
Around 100 parents, students, and teachers came to hear why the Sacramento City Unified School District wants to close Tahoe Elementary and 10 others.
Where is the best interest of the child?
The district said they are thinking about the children, and this school doesn't have enough of them.
A school like Tahoe is only 40% full.
If all 11 schools are closed, the district estimates savings of $2.6 million a year, much of it coming from layoffs.
So we have a principal that runs the school. When we have office staff, we have custodians and plant managers.
Parents did their best to argue why the school should stay open, from teachers to its location, but some worry they won't make a difference.
I would have hoped that a lot more people would have showed up than was in there. I was kind of disappointed with the crowd.
This is one of 11 schools that will have these meetings, trying to convince the board not to cut their school. Now, on February 21st, the board can decide to cut all 11 schools and close them down, or take some off the list. The people here tonight hope they're one of the schools that might be saved. At Tahoe Elementary, I'm Richard Sharp, KCRA 3 Night Team.
Meantime, we have a list of the 11 schools that are slated to be closed. You can read it there. The district says even if they close all 11 schools, they still anticipate a budget shortfall that could be in the millions.
California Republican lawmakers are backing a bill that will allow school districts to use state money to help train staff to use guns. Assemblymember Tim Donnelly introduced that bill today. This move comes after the deadly shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Connecticut. Supporters of this bill say well-trained and armed staff members could have stopped that attack, but the president of the Glendale PTA says school security should stay with the police.
Them having to make the kind of life and death decisions of using a gun in that kind of situation is not something that our teachers are trained for or would be trained for, nor is it something I want them thinking about on a daily basis.
Current law allows school staff to bring a gun on campus when it's allowed by local districts. The new law would simply provide state funding for weapons training. And there's a new PPIC poll out tonight on gun control in the state of California. It finds the majority of people in California believe the government is not doing enough in regulating guns. 2/3 of Californians say the government does not do enough to control access to guns. 1/3 says the government goes too far in restricting access to guns. And 65% of those polled support a nationwide ban on so-called assault weapons, while 32% do not. The poll was taken after the Newtown school shooting.
Right now, a large search is underway in Antelope for a man authorities have been trying to catch for days. Officers are trying to find this man, Gary Fowler. Roseville police say he stole several cars from a rental car agency over the weekend. A large number of Sacramento County Sheriff's deputies and Roseville police officers have been searching in the Antelope area east of Center High School. They've set up a perimeter. Officers are taking extra precautions during this particular search.
We believe that he may be armed with a handgun, and he's made comments to his parole agent that he wasn't going to go back to prison.
Police say last night Fowler escaped after leading officers on a brief chase and then running off on foot.
We have this new tonight. 3 people from Stockton are under investigation for allegedly running a prostitution ring that spans several countries and 5 California cities. A criminal complaint obtained by KCRA says the 3 allegedly brought women from Mexico and Central America into the U.S. illegally and then forced them to be prostitutes. They allegedly had 2 homes set up in Stockton, 1 in Yuba City, another in Fairfield, 1 in Sacramento, and 1 in Chico, all operating as brothels. While the criminal complaint lists charges of prostitution and human trafficking, the 3 were indicted today on charges of harboring illegal aliens. And a Vacaville man is under investigation for passing off fake $100 bills using an elaborate system. Napa County deputies pulled the man over and found him with 3 fake bills. They searched his house and they found a scanner, a computer, and a USB drive that he allegedly used to forge the bills. And according to a Secret Service affidavit, Latt confessed to bleaching $1 bills and then reprinting them as $100 bills, even sewing in the nylon strip into the paper.
Police in a Stanislaus County town are asking for your help to catch whoever is shooting cats with crossbow darts. KCRA 3's Janet O talked to one of the victims in Newman, who says she's now afraid to let her kids and her pets out of the house. We'd like to warn you, some of these images may be disturbing.
Bella is not just a cat. She's part of the Reyes-Romo family, and this past weekend, someone hurt her. It happened in their front yard in broad daylight.
My son comes, hysterical around the corner and says, "Bella's got an arrow in her eye." And I couldn't wrap my brain around that. I was like, what?
Mary Reyes-Romo shows us a picture of a 6-inch dart that was shot straight into Bella's eye.
It was in this corner here, and the whole thing was in all the way through, except just the back part of that dart was sticking out. So it was in pretty far.
Newman police say Bella is one of 5 cats that were shot with a crossbow dart over the weekend. 1 cat died from its injuries.
If you're shooting at a cat and you're doing it during the day, are you going to miss the cat and hit a kid? That's our concern is the public safety.
In one case, the dart lodged all the way into the animal's body. Westside Animal Hospital said the cat was lucky to survive.
If you see on this view here, it's just, it missed the spinal column, it missed the heart, it missed everything important.
Newman police say this is one of the worst cases of animal cruelty it's seen, and several community members think so too. They're now offering to add on to the $500 reward the Arrayes-Romo family has put up. For now, Mary says she's keeping a close watch on her loved ones.
My son, in fact, wanted to ride his bike on Sunday outside, and I said, absolutely not. And it's horrible because you almost feel like you can't even go outside in your own neighborhood.
Jan Ditto, KCRA 319.
Police don't have any suspects at this time, but whoever they catch could face felony charges.
Well, a woman and her dog were rescued from a cliff in San Francisco at a park today. Here's the scene. That woman fell down to the beach where a helicopter eventually picked her up. A rescuer was then lowered down on some ropes to retrieve the dog. The woman and the dog are expected to be okay. Well, they are excited for their sons, but tonight the parents of Jim and John Harbaugh are a bit torn what they plan to do the moment the Super Bowl ends on Sunday.
And a young 49ers fan from Rio Linda is in the hospital. What's being done to make sure that he does not miss the big game?
We have clear skies tonight. We are heading for another cool start to the day tomorrow, and there might be some changes ahead for the weekend. I'll show you that in just a couple of minutes.
Back to the road to the championship and another busy day in New Orleans as the 49ers get ready to take on the Baltimore Ravens.
KCRA 3's Kelly DeMarco joining us again there live in New Orleans along with Chris Riva. We're looking at some of today's headlines, guys.
Hello, welcome again from New Orleans. This has been an interesting day, guys. We woke up, it was pouring rain here in New Orleans, wind blowing everything around. Fortunately, for the first practice for the 49ers in the Saints facility, they were indoors. Ravens not so lucky, but we'll take that for now.
You don't know if that's going to be an advantage until later in the week. Yeah. The big headline today was really a Super Bowl first, a press conference from the parents of both head coaches. It was Jack and Jackie Harbaugh. The brothers said to their parents at the start of the week, enjoy the week, embrace this matchup. But they did admit, come game day on Sunday, they're going to have to be parents first.
Good to see you. How you doing? Great to see you.
Jack Harbaugh has enjoyed the Super Bowl experience, but the fun will end Sunday night at kickoff.
There's going to be one winner, and there's going to be one that's going to be totally disappointed. And my thoughts go to that one that will not experience the thrill of victory.
To some extent, the Harbaughs have been through this before. It was last season on Thanksgiving when the Niners lost to the Ravens.
During the 3 hours and 15 minutes, I want you to know this lady was comatose. I mean, there was no expression. Her face was totally lifeless.
The Harbaughs learned what to expect after the game.
The Raven locker room, I mean, the excitement of victory. We've all experienced that excitement of victory. Guys jumping up and down and smile on John's face, and the coaches, they were just ecstatic and that thrill of victory. I'm telling you, there's nothing like victory, the thrill of victory. And then you realize you weren't needed here.
A trip to the Niners locker room was heartbreaking.
Opened up a couple doors and finally saw Jim all by himself in his room. Just a table and a chair, you know, still in his coaching outfit and his head down in his hands, and you looked into his eyes and you realized that this is where you were needed as a parent. Now every single parent can identify with that thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. And on Sunday night, we're going to experience both of those great emotions, and our thoughts will be with the one that comes up a little short.
I think wonderful insight from the parents and what they're going through this week. They've certainly enjoyed the Super Bowl experience to this point. Ironically, they said this hasn't been the most proudest moment that they've had. And Jack pointed back to the fact that when they got into coaching, followed his career path, and also when they started playing Little League football, when they started to enjoy the game that he grew up loving.
Interesting angle on this whole story, Chris, because we think coach versus coach, brother versus brother, but you don't think of the families behind that and what those parents are going to have to go through. It's going to be a bittersweet win and loss come Sunday. So 3 days left for our guys to get the practice in. Coming up in sports, Del Rogers is going to talk about the advantages and the disadvantages of the weather today. Also, we'll be talking to some of our guys and how they're getting ready for the big game on Sunday. We'll toss it back to you.
Just a quick question for Chris. You were there for that news conference. I know it went something like 45 minutes today. For a lot of parents, this would be a nerve-wracking, anxious, excruciating time. With them, you got the sense they're having a ball.
And that was something that both John and Jim asked their parents as soon as they knew they were going to the Super Bowl. But it is unique. When you think of like Eli and Peyton Manning, the Mannings called them last week and said it's excruciating for them. But the Harbaughs have certainly enjoyed this moment. And I think it's just because they're such a tight, close-knit family. But they do admit that Sunday it's going to be tough for the loser.
Yeah, well, great story, Chris. Thanks, and we'll check back with you both.
And we have this, a 7-year-old boy from Rio Linda isn't letting his medical condition get in the way of his Super Bowl celebration.
Jacob Murphy, yeah, a huge 49ers fan. Right now, he's at Lucille Packard Children's Hospital in Palo Alto. He's battling congenital heart problems. So on Sunday, he'll be watching the big game with family and friends in his hospital room, and it is all decked out in 49ers blankets, flags, and teddy bears. Today, he told us a story about how some relatives tried to convert him to become an Oakland Raiders fan.
One time, my grandpa and my grandma, they took and they bought me a Raiders sweater, and I opened it and I said, I'm not a Raiders fan, I'm a 49ers fan. And then I took after my uncle and my mom.
So there you have it. I mean, this is just
I love it. He's dyed in the wool, man.
So once he has the heart transplant that he needs, Jacob wants to play football, become a coach, or he said just be on the field in some way.
He'll get there, and
Yeah,
we wish him a speedy recovery. Let's check in right now with Mark Finan because, yeah, it was another, well, I mean, you know, it was another great day, Mark. I mean, what can you say?
It was. There are a couple of differences between this time last night and tonight. The temperatures are pretty similar. We have temperatures that are in the mid-40s. We have 45 in Sacramento, 46 in Stockton, 43 in Modesto. The difference in the valley is that there's a bit more humidity that increases the chances that we might have some fog early tomorrow morning. Right now at Tahoe, we have 27 degrees. Of course, with all the sunshine we had today, we warmed into the 60s, hitting 63 in Sacramento. Stockton and Modesto hit 57 degrees in Auburn. We're going to be close to those numbers again during the day tomorrow, despite the fact we'll be starting down in the 30s. Still mainly clear skies throughout the area. The storm track still well up to the north. And the main cloud cover that would bring us any chance of rain is way out here to the west. However, it's these clouds down south we have to watch because that's what might bring a little change for the weekend. Let me show you that here at Futurecast. Tomorrow morning will be mainly clear. And if we do have any fog at sunrise or so, it's the sort that'll burn off pretty quickly. So mostly sunny as we go through the day. And the same would be true on Friday. The chance of some fog in the morning and then brilliant sunshine through the rest of the day. As we get into the day on Saturday, clouds start creeping in from the south. Nothing in the way of rain. It'll just turn a little cooler through the weekend with a few more clouds over the course of the weekend. The bigger changes are still about a week away. So that leaves us with sunshine tomorrow in the high Sierra. Places like Tahoe and Truckee will get into the 40s, about 46 in Truckee, 53 in Pollock Pines, and 52 degrees around Arnold. The foothills will start in the 30s and then get back into the upper 50s to near 60 with sunshine and just a really light wind. Places like Fairfield will start out in the mid-30s, so we won't have any frost in the morning, and by the afternoon about 63. For the valley, again, here's one of those spots we might have some of that fog first thing in the morning, but by the afternoon, Stockton will be sunny and 64, around 63 or so around Manteca, and Sacramento also might see some of that fog in the morning, but enough sunshine in the afternoon to get back and go up to around 64 degrees. So it will be mostly sunny throughout the day, and by noontime, very, very comfortable. We'll do the same thing on Friday. Saturday, a few of those clouds that I mentioned. For Sunday, a few high clouds with a high near 60. Changes for the early part of next week, including a chance of rain next Wednesday. Back to you.
You don't say. All right.
Finally.
We'll look for that. Thanks, Mark. Well, the 49ers and the Ravens got down to business today. It was time to hit the practice field and get to work. And coming up next, Dale's going to give us a look live with where the Niners will be working out for the Super Bowl.
It is go time for the 49ers here in New Orleans. I'm Kelly DeMarco coming to you live with Del Rogers. These guys got to buckle down. No more parties. No more festivities. It's time to get on the field.
I think after Media Day, the next day is when you're supposed to kick things into overdrive. Now with the weather, the team that can practice on a dry surface, because that's what's going to happen on Sunday, is inside, it's the dome. That's a team that has an advantage. A team that practices outside in the sloshy rain and onto the wet grass, not going to have an advantage. Let's take a look at some video, because today practices got underway for the San Francisco 49ers as they prepare for Super Bowl 47. Now one of their NFC rivals were nice enough to let them use their practice facility today. The 49ers hit the field at the New Orleans Saints facility for their first practice since arriving in New Orleans. It's been 10 days since they've clinched the NFC Championship game in Atlanta, and the guys were ready to get back to work.
It'd be great to get back to work. It seemed like it's been a little while, you know, because we've been doing so much as far as the media and things like that. So I'm excited to get back to work and put the game plan in.
To go in there and do our job. I mean, I don't talk about other teams too much, you know, but I think it's about us, and I think about if we do our job, everything will play out right.
All righty, their opponents, the Baltimore Ravens, hit the practice field this afternoon. They are working out at Tulane University, an outdoor facility. Now, the Ravens arrived on Monday and have been working ever since then. Now, I think, Kelly, that is an advantage for Baltimore, because I believe that if you don't take a break off, if you keep the systems going during the regular season, try to keep everything the same, you'll play better in the postseason. It's the teams that take the long breaks that struggle to get back on track. So it's always better just to keep things going, keep things in sync.
Plus, wouldn't you rather be in a nice cozy dome?
Yes, you would.
Nice cozy facility to practice football.
I think the 49ers have an advantage in that aspect because it is in the dome.
Yeah.
So you get to practice on the surface you're going to play on. Baltimore is not practicing on the surface they're going to play on, so they have a disadvantage.
All right, Golston and Edie, more football tomorrow, and I will be hanging out with the Gators.
Whoa!
Real Louisiana tour through the swamplands.
Death roll.
Meeting some of the Gators down here.
Death roll.
Yeah, keep your arms in the boat.
Yeah, watch out.
All fingers.
All right, we'll be right back.
Death roll.
Well, one of the real cool attractions in New Orleans is the NFL experience, and it's not just for adults.
In fact, this was opening day of the NFL Play 60 Kids Day. Look at all the kids coming into that area. The NFL experience opened its doors exclusively to 1,500 elementary school kids from the greater New Orleans area. To take part in this deal, these kids had to complete a challenge of being active for 60 minutes a day for 6 weeks. That was not bad. And the reward, 4 hours of football activities in the NFL experience.
Maybe a future star in there somewhere. Well, the night team continues in a half hour at 11. Hope to see you then. Thanks for watching KCRA 3.